Thank you so much, Dirk. And there's certainly team members back in the Alliance that are much more attuned to this presentation than I am, so bear with me. But as I mentioned yesterday, the Alliance partners identified water as a critical aspect of the organization and its stewardship. And one of that drove the issue was around the global risk of water. We recognize that there's 3% of fresh water in the world. Only 1.2% of that is actually accessible to us for drinking. And interesting studies are showing that over 2 billion people are at risk in areas with water scarcity. And interesting, I was not aware of this until I was reading through the notes here. And so by 2030, it is projected that demand for water will exceed supply by 40%, which, you know, at any rate, is very, very concerning. And so water risk poses a critical threat to business and its viability across the globe. And so the hospitality industry is no exception. And Dirk, you mentioned it very, very well. There is, though, a lot of need for water in the hotel industry, food preparation, personal hygiene, obviously, but, you know, everything from housekeeping to heating and cooling systems really present critical issues for the hotel industry. And, you know, a prime example, what, you know, is very, very well known, I'm certainly in this room, you know, the scarcity that came out in Cape Town, particularly, you know, estimated impact of that was over 65 million in shortfall to the region's hospitality income. So it brought obviously a very, very strong interest by the Alliance to look at this issue in a much more meaningful and deep way. And, you know, we've come at this with this idea, and this is an important one for us as an industry to continue to galvanize our thoughts around, is that it is definitely the industry it's a privilege to work and build your businesses in a particular destination. I think there's been you know, over the years, we as destination managers and economic development people have worked very hard to attract hotels to a particular community. And through zoning and others, community installations, it's enabled industry to build. So then it built a thought process in the hotel industry that, you know, it's a privilege to actually have our hotel in your community. So we have to change and unwind that kind of thinking, and that's the work that's going on amongst the members of the Alliance, so that it is actually a privilege to actually operate, to have that social license to operate in a community, and therefore look at issues like water and water scarcity in this effort. I mentioned this yesterday. This is the Alliance of donor members at the moment, and it's continuing to grow significantly. And they all identified water stewardship as one of the keystones. So as a result, our research found that, you know, as I mentioned, countries forecast with the highest water stress in the coming years are also among those where the greatest tourism growth exists. And, you know, it's interesting. I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, but I know, and just our members alone, there's over 2.5 million hotel rooms in the pipeline already approved and in process. So that tremendous growth globally is showcasing a need for people to have, you know, decisions around areas like water. We have developed a series of tools at the Alliance. Some of them are free practical tools, research and resources that are available to every hotel to implement water stewardship activities. As I mentioned yesterday, and you see on the screen, the Hotel Water Measurement Initiative tool enables hotels to monitor and measure and benchmark their water usage. It's currently used by over 35,000 hotels around the world, and that's a very conservative number. That's the numbers we know for sure. And it has been recognized by a number of agencies as a benchmark tool for this particular purpose. We've also developed a water stewardship guidance protocol that provides critical direction to hotels on how to better manage their impact on water as well. But with that, we also saw in 2019 the Alliance launch what is called the Destination Water Risk Index. We partnered with Ecolab, which is a global leader in water hygiene and energy technology and services, and Greenview, a sustainable consultancy, to develop, who you heard from Olivia yesterday, the Water Risk Index. And so why did we develop this risk index? You'll see we saw water risk varies dramatically at the destination level. There's not one size fits all around the world. Some areas don't have as much issue around water scarcity than others, and the hotels needed to understand and support this notion. The hospitality industry also is growing rapidly, as we've just mentioned, but with the high levels of development concentrated in certain key destinations, we need to develop a much more informed decision-making process for the industry, so they make better decisions on where they locate their properties, but also in how they construct their facilities. As the effects of climate change are occurring, we also see that these areas are changing, and we need to be ahead of that thinking and look at projected changes as well. And so the index provides some thoughts around that. And finally, the Alliance recognizes that hotel businesses need to be conscious about the impact they're having in the local destination, going back to that notion of that it's a privilege, not a right. So this risk index maps areas of high water stress with areas of high hotel growth. So there was an overlay there. And in so doing, it enables companies and investors to explore, access, and financially value and respond to water risk specifically. So it provides some cutting-edge intelligence on the water risk throughout the tourism industry. It delivers a unique analysis of water risk in key markets and seeks to help hotel companies and properties, both in operation and those planned for development, understand those financial implications. So the partners, we evaluated 68 destinations around the world, which were selected based on high frequency of hotels, both at present and predicted in the future. We drew from data from 4 key sources: the World Resource Institute's Aqueduct Water Risk Atlas, which is a global water risk mapping tool which shows where and how water risks and opportunities are emerging worldwide. We looked at Ecolab's Water Risk Monetizer, which is a tool for businesses to understand water-related risks and quantify risks in terms of financial terms. And I mentioned yesterday, we worked very closely with the Cornell Hotel Sustainable Benchmarking Index, which is the industry's largest global sustainable benchmarking index, and it features data from the water tool that we use at the Alliance, and the Green Lodging Trends Report, which are findings from the leading benchmarking study of sustainable best practices for hotels. So what were the results? Through this analysis, we identified 12 locations across 6 countries with the highest overall risk of water stress, which are shown on the map. All of these locations are in Asia, with 5 out of the 12 locations are in Indonesia and India. Bali and Mumbai were identified as the 2 destinations with the highest overall assessment risk ranking as extremely high. And so other key insights that we identified, some trends there. So 7 locations with were determined to have extremely high or at current or future water stress. There were 10 destinations that were identified to have extremely high water risk premium, which is the actual cost of caused by water risk, both in the immediate future or in the 5-year horizon. The report also identified 10 destinations that are foreseen to have high or extremely high hotel pipeline growth in the coming years, which were overlaid within that risk index. And the report also sets out a key set of recommendations for how current gaps between the risks and practices can be closed. For example, through water monitoring or greater water usage. There was a lot of discussion within the report around that. And the report highlights the need to prioritize these 12 locations when designing water stewardship strategies among the global portfolio. So there's a combination of indicators and advice and guidance. And so the risk index assesses the incoming water risk. It evaluates its potential financial implications for the industry and its intensity, identifies and plans for future hotel growth to better manage water demand, and develops more informed water stewardship strategies. So, we are obviously very excited about these meetings that we're having with all of you to raise awareness of, first of all, this index and how we can work together on applying what our learnings are from this. I'm pleased to say that we are now in development of the 2.0 version. This report was done in 2019. So we are now in the process of updating that as we speak. And certainly we'll be connecting with Dirk and your team as well as this report is in its development phase at the moment. But certainly we'd be looking at working with destinations as well as we identify risk indicators. If there are destinations that are sitting in this room that are on that list, we need to connect and see how we can work together around that. Oh, thank you very much for this opportunity to share on the water risk index and what we're doing at the Alliance and how the industry is seeing this as an important part of the process. So thank you.